This one looks like an interesting character. Let's see what he wants. Yeah.
Hello?
Hello there. How do you do?
Quite well. How are you?
I'm in good spirits and good spirits. I've just had a few.
Okay, that might be why. I was about to say he seems a lot more composed than the rest of the people we've brought in.
Do people come here often?
About once a week.
Oh, I'm just going to light up a pipe like this. It's quite strong stuff, actually. Oh yes. I think Bearer might have said this would all happen if I smoked this stuff.
Uh,
Yeah.
no thanks, but do help yourself.
No, my pleasure.
I might take you up on that later, but may we have your name?
May you have my name.
We'll give it back.
My name is Lord Rhaelar, Vasneman Draco, Nebuchadnezzar, Zanister, Valkyrian, Lord of Eastwatch, heir to Danebury Hill, Patilavang, the Red Baron, Ace of Aces, wielder of Ignatius, the wearer of the spider silk gloves, hero of the Awakening, and whom might you be?
I'm Aephraim.
And I am Ashura. We are the Delegation of Dreamers.
Ah, you're Dovahkiin, you're Dova. Yes.
Yeah, but we don't do the Fusrada stuff.
No. Nor does my mother really. But breath upon breath.
Yes. Is it fine if we call you, just for short, Lord Rhaelar, Vas, Niemann, Draco, Nebuchadnezzar, Sinstar, Valkyrian?
Well, you can call me Lord Rhaelar if you like.
Oh, that would be even better.
But well remembered.
I'll be honest, I don't think I was even going to try to attempt the entire name.
Where do you see? Don't you have names that are longer than mine?
Well, it would confuse the kobolds if we had longer names.
It's true.
Yes. I suppose these are the syllables I am allowed to speak, I suppose.
At least in reference to yourself.
No, of course, of course. I wouldn't want to speak your entire name, for that would be slightly a bit gauche, rude. Talking of gauche, I wonder where you want anything to drink around here, or are we going to just sit and float about?
Well, actually, we have some fine moss-covered chairs. Actually, quite luxurious.
Yes, I think I'll sit down here and just get.
He asked for something to drink, not where to sit.
Well, I wouldn't mind sitting after having a drink. I mean, I'll need a seat after a stiff one.
I'll be sure to bring some mountain brew.
Would some tea do fine? We can have the kobolds bring us.
Oh, tea. Oh, that's how very lovely. I'm glad. Oh, yes, please. I would love some tea.
Jeremy, if you could, please. Just a few cups of tea. What kind?
Well, I always like the Rubalan stuff myself. Bit of redwood tea leaf would be lovely.
Now, may we ask you some questions? We tend to bring people in just to ask some questions and get a bit about their story.
Yes, of course.
First of all, why is your name so long?
Because that's my name.
How did it get so long, perhaps?
This is the expression of who I am. It differentiates myself from another dragon like yourself. Names are important. Some of it has family tie, like Valkyrian, is a family name. Vasneman meaning the new man. Draco, the dragon. Nebuchadnezzar was my mother's wanted that. Zinister is one of my mother's names. It was a gift. And of course, titles are important. Titles.
Yes, how did you go about obtaining so many titles? Can you tell us about the first one?
Well, the first one, Lord of Eastwatch. I am born to a noble family, the House of Valkyrian, which is a vassal of the Dark Moors. Eastwatch is it's a place. It's a village somewhere. It's becoming a thriving town.
Somewhere in the east.
It is east in the kingdom of Callista, yes.
Does it watch?
Well, it was once a place to watch over the eastern parts of Callista, you see, back when Callista was a lot smaller. But war in the east it hasn't happened for a good long, not even an elf time war in the east.
And what about your other titles? You seem to have quite a few. I'm assuming there's a story between each.
Oh, yes. So Danebury Hill is quite a prized piece of real estate. It's a wondrous manor. It's at least several 100 acres, at least. It's my family home. Also, we have home in Tintagel. But Patil of Ang, that was an earned title. I became such when I was on mission on the HMS Valor, and we were in the Far East. I was given that title for I helped in ridding a temple of demon tyranny. It was infested by them, and oh yes, the Temple of the Elements. The reward for such, putting life and limb on the line for a country we barely knew, to bring them for order. These 4 countries were about to go to war, and this was the way that they choose their leader who leads all 4, you see. It's through this temple. And you can go there now.
I will happily ask you to take me there once this is over.
Oh, yes, it'll be completely different. The Red Baron, can't you see my complexion?
Are you complex?
I am very red, and I am a baron, so therefore, the Red Baron was something of a little nickname I got in the Air Force. And the Ace of Aces, well, of course I'm a flying ace. Got my wings, and they're not physical wings, but it's, but, you know, I go up and down my kite. I've been up and down more times than you can shake a stick at.
The wielder of Ignatius. What is Ignatius?
My sword. I haven't carried it here. It's in my cane here. We show you. You see, I pretend to be a weak and feeble old man, but then I whip this out, and I'm suddenly the best duelist in Callisto. Well, I'm at least the second best, I think. I think there is one person who is better than me, I think.
And who would that be?
I can't remember his name. It's probably one of the Port Royal lot. Oh, yes, he was a Tabaxu fella. Oh, yes, I remember him. He used to go to the cavalry club back in the day.
Oh, here's Jeremy with the tea.
Oh, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Oh, yes, please. Oh, this is quite nice. Oh.
And regarding those spider silk gloves, 1, how did you obtain them? And 2, what is their significance other than they're made of spider silk?
Oh, yes, these were an interesting thing. Found them in a dwarven city that had been overrun by the undead, so I found them lying around, abandoned, and helped get me across quite a deep chasm. You know what these dwarven cities are like, they're full of chasms. Predators drop here, you know. I don't know how they do it. And it's always dark as well. So we had quite a nasty ambush, in fact. I couldn't see for the wood between the trees, and I tried fighting them off, and somebody had produced a light spell, and I ended up fighting a rock for the most of the fight.
A rock.
Yes, a piece of rock. Yeah, we were completely surrounded, you see, surrounded by what I thought were the undead was a rock for me. I could see somebody getting the Lewis gun going, and
So it was like being in a cave?
well, it was very cave-like, yes. Deep underground, you see, almost at the Underdark level.
Yeah. Then I understand why you felt surrounded by rocks.
Yes, of course. It was a lot of the place was stone. It was very, very interesting architecture. And I bet you're wondering what the title here of the Awakening is.
I'm curious about all of your titles.
Could it be that you woke up in the right time?
Oh yes, I will enlighten you, for this is probably the most important of the titles. Hence, I put it last, because you want to have a big bang at the last bit.
Of course.
You see, I was part of an operation to repair the world. The world was broken, and a great ritual needed to be done on the Day of the Dead. There were 3 ships of this operation. There was the HMS Valor and the HMS Adelaide, and I believe the one of the older one, quite an old ship, was in that battle.
Why are they both named HMS? Is that like a surname?
That's His Majesty's ship.
Oh, so it wasn't your ship then?
I served on the ship, but I served at His Majesty's. I served him on that ship.
And how did you get to the level that you protected the Majesty?
The level to protect His Majesty, to be part of his bodyguard, you mean?
Yes, how did you get to that point? Where did you start?
Well, be born in the right family and serve Callista well and prove that you are loyal, and you must have at least had 25 years in one of the services in the military career. It's quite an honourable position. Though His Majesty doesn't perform on the front line, this is not a time where a king or queen will be on board these ships. These are ships of his Air Force.
And you began in the Air Force, correct?
No, I was a cavalry officer at the beginning. It was quite the early days. The Air Force is relatively new. It's in my lifetime, at least, of that the Air Force has ever been a thing. No, I enlisted at age 18, and I was a cavalry officer, and I wanted to do such that my father had done. But to be honest, it was in my belief that cavalry was becoming less and less needed on the battlefield. It was becoming more and more obsolete with the advent of the machine gun that can mow down several brigades of cavalry before they've even set charge. No. Cavalry is for reconnaissance. That's its best use, I believe. That the Air Force, the mechanical cavalry, is where it's all at.
And why is that?
Going up and down in a kite, you'll be able to get across the field and rain death from above. That's the kind of fight you want. And also, you get to be in a dogfight, which is always fun, you know.
Do you store a lot of skeletons on these kites?
Skeletons.
Yeah, you said you rain death from above. Do you throw skeletons at...
No. But one uses your gun for that sort of thing. That's why you rain death from above. That's how you get rid of a horde of zombies and with a strafing run. Now, I even remembered my old drinking buddy, Zerkan. He could hide behind the sun and get in a good few shots there.
I'm surprised you didn't ask about dogfighting.
No, I was so confused about the streaking run.
Oh.
Do you run around naked?
No. Strafe, dear. You know, just taking your plane and flying at least towards the enemy and peppering them with cold iron.
Cold iron.
Cold iron.
You don't have skeletons on it, but you have a lot of cold iron.
Yes, I have some cold iron and my kite. That's what it is.
Is it your kite or is it His Majesty's kite?
Well, now I think His Majesty has given it to me as a as technology is advancing at an alarming rate. It's becoming old hat. I mean, well, I kind of made a name for myself with it. I mean, when I was at the society ball in 1190, or New Year's Eve, well, that's the whole show is coming by plane, and people expect that of me. Yes, I found myself I had quite the following when I got back to Callista City, and especially in Irontown as well.
Irontown.
Oh yes, wonderful place. Oh, they've got it all sorted. They've got trains and locomotives going around. And, yes, their ironclads going across the empire. Isn't it marvelous?
That does sound grand. So tell me, why did you, the armed forces, the air force, all of it, why did you originally go into it?
I wanted to do my bit, you see, do my bit for king and country. Also, it's a stable career.
Oh, was that why you became a cavalry officer? To have a stable career?
Ah, ah, ah. I think the Cavalry Club have already used that pun to its greatest extent. Dearie me.
Airframe, what am I going to do with you?
Yes, you're just as bad. You're just as bad as old Valen Cross. So he always used to have a pun for every occasion.
Old friend of yours?
Very old friend now.
How'd you go about meeting them?
Oh, I met them in Irontown when we were about to go off in 11. Was it around 1170, 1175? It was around that time anyway. Yes, very tall, black dragonborn. Yes.
What were you doing when you met?
Just as we were, just as we are, really. Sat in a pub and having a drink and a smoke, and there he was. It's where I met most of the crew on Hatred's Valor.
You just saw the biggest lankering person you could find, and you went, that one's going to be my friend.
Well, we were all brought together, you see. It was all sort of, it was very rushed to get everybody together, you see.
Hmm.
We were on quite a mission. We had to find a cleric of Valor who was out there preaching the good word, but also he was out there and hasn't been heard or seen for a long time, and so we had to go and find him in a bit of a hurry. But also, we had some cargo to deliver.
What cargo?
Well, is this place secure?
It's quite soundproof. You can't even hear the kobolds down in the mine.
There aren't any demons this plane of existence.
Well, as long as you don't count Lyndon.
Who's Lyndon?
We don't know.
Plan to find out, though.
Well, we were carrying an egg. A dragon egg.
A stolen egg?
No. Rescued egg. An egg that had to be brought to a place and hatch. It was one of the celestial winds. He's got a name now. He's bonded to a person now. One of the people we travelled with. I don't remember what he called him, but he'd always be Aegon to me. Because that's draconic for egg.
Good pun.
My little Aegon. Well, I saw him grow up, you see.
Is Aegon still around?
Oh, yes. Probably flying around, making the winds go in the right direction.
Yeah, I guess someone has to do that. What happened to the cleric that you were looking for?
We found him.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes, found him and Auntie Ole, I think. Yes, we found her. Found his bond dragon.
Is there a lot of dragons in your world?
Yes, there are. There are many dragons.
Can you tell us about some of them?
Well, one of them is my mother, Zenista. She is a dragon. She is very much a red dragon, like myself. One of my uncles on the mother's side was definitely a dragon. They're more of the black ilk. My mother-in-law is a dragon.
Your mother-in-law.
Yes, my mother-in-law. I am, as you could see, married. I have my wedding band here.
Who's the lucky one?
The lucky one is Lady Bera.
They don't have an extending title.
Well, she ought to, really. She's not your average dragon. Being an angel dragon. Yeah, she's not quite the orthodox kind of dragon. Which is why I liked her so much. She wasn't so much of a traditionalist.
So when she introduces you to her friends, does she use your entire name and all the titles?
No, no. Only if they didn't know me to begin with, or if it was of the Dragon Council, for instance, that my whole name would be used. But at a society ball or some event, it would be my short name. Maybe even Valkyrian added on for the house name. Not all my titles.
Can you tell us a bit more about your party? Like, who all is in it?
The squad?
Yes, your squad.
Oh, yes. The squad. Well, let me see. There was myself, seen. There was quite a noble orc who came with us, Rhaego Battleborn. He was an orc kind of person, and he was born into one of the great tribes, one of the tribal chieftains. Very honourable and very upright man. Talking of orcs, there was another half orc. There was Valdar, very beautiful half orc. Yes, I have a slightly soft spot for him. Very charming fella, you know. You would have thought by looking at him he was an angry sort, but absolutely not. No, he's a marvel of Callistian education. He's from Sky Meets Rock. That's where a lot of Callistians and the orcs that have come to the Callistian way of things live and be. Let me see. There was another. There was Valen Cross. He joined with us. Oh yes, he was a paladin of Tiamat. And Rhaego was also a paladin of some description. A paladin of Valor, I believe.
I didn't know there were paladins of Tiamat.
Yes. There are quite a few. Yes, Tiamat is the great mother of all chromatic dragons.
And this Tiamat, your version of Tiamat, does not want the world to burn?
No, far from it. In fact, she was helpful and instrumental in repairing the world.
That's a rare Tiamat.
I'm aware of other stories connected to Tiamat. Mainly Dracophobia is the Calathian propaganda on Tiamat was that kind of story. Those, of course, are base lies. It was just a Calathian plot. Slavers.
Ah,
Something I cannot abide. Better to die free than live as a slave.
I think I can agree to that.
They believed Calathia for Calathians. But you got me talking about Calathians, and I very nearly spilled my tea on you. I do apologize.
When you mentioned you had to prove your loyalty to Callista, how did you do that?
Well, serve your country. When the king commands, you obey.
Like tea and biscuits? Or what do you serve your country?
Oh, no, service. You must do things. You must,
Bring the tea and biscuits.
no, not quite that meaning of serve. I mean, be part of the armed forces for a few years. It is more than just tea and biscuits. It is fight the demons, fight for Callista.
Running and strafing.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Making sure that plots against His Majesty aren't happening all around you, like what happened in 1190. There was nearly a coup on His Majesty, but with me and a few friends of mine, we managed to sort that out. Yes.
Now, I have a question for you regarding you and your squad.
Yes.
What would you say is one of your best adventures with them?
Oh, well. I think going to the Temple of the Elements, I think. That was the best. Oh, yes, and fighting the Thri-Green, yes. Oh, yes, being in my kite and fighting them. But another is the Battle of the Awakening. Riding off the edge of the world, my friends.
You rode off the edge of the world.
Yes. And I saw things that I could barely imagine.
Did you see the underside?
Not quite.
It might be for the better. Like, people down there are quite strange.
It was sort of in on itself. It was rather strange. The edge sort of reversed itself, sort of thing. But flying off and reawakening the golden man. Oh, yes. The missing god. The god who had been, hell, to put it in mortal frames, in a coma.
Was it made of pure gold?
He was made out of pure sunlight.
So, not that valuable then.
But valuable in repairing the world, my friend.
Yeah, but no gold.
His temples have quite a lot of gold in them.
Oh.
His temples, his acolytes often wear golden jewelry and that sort of thing. Golden suns, that's what they like. And talking of gold, my ring is red gold. This is my wedding band.
Well, some would say that would be more valuable.
This ring is a lot more valuable than you can possibly imagine.
Other than it's the symbol between your wife and you?
Yes,
Could you tell me why?
I'll let you in on a secret. It's got a bit of my soul in it.
Bit of your soul?
Yes. And Bera has the other half.
How do you manage to do that? Tearing souls is quite a difficult process.
It was not me. It was the Lady Tiamat herself. Ripped the soul from me. For I wished to give my heart to another.
Oh, so it was consensual.
Yes. No, the person who I love in the world, I was willing to give that part of them to. I wanted to marry into a good family. I wanted a good marriage alliance. It's important to nobility.
Mm.
And, well, a descendant to the Silver Lady and Bahamut is quite a high honor. Though I was looking for a marriage alliance, I underestimated just how much I love her. I love her quite a bit, actually.
I hope you would if you were willing to give a part of your soul.
I do. So much that we have two wonderful children, hatched from the same egg.
Twins.
Hmm?
You said they were hatched from the same egg.
Yes, they're twins. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm a little deaf. What are you?
Ah, completely understandable.
It took a little bit of pounding during that battle, and it was, in fact, one of those rooks came along and tried to nearly bite my ear off, and he tried to slash me, but
Sorry, you took a pound of what?
it took quite a pounding from a rook. You see, there was this rooker here, this rook there, and this rooker in front of me.
That's quite skillful to steal something during combat.
Yes, they were rooking about as they do. Nasty demons, them. Oh yes, that we had to fight a lot of them off when we were at the Battle of the Edge of the World, the Awakening.
Battle of the Edge of the World. That sounds like a good title.
Oh yes, it was. It was glorious. And those involved earned the title of Hero of the Awakening. Even Nisha got that. No, she's not a fan of titles. She likes the value and gold that comes with title, but not perhaps the name. Shadowy kind of girl.
Can I ask what led to this battle at the edge of the world?
Well, you see, the world had broken. Many thousand years, Eretha had been lost to the seas. Lost to time, I suppose. And so a ritual had to be made to repair the world. But we didn't know quite what to do with this ritual. So a cleric was sent to find the Vault of History. There was another attempt to fix the world, you see, but they were missing something. And so my crew and I sailed east to find the Vault of History. And we had found the last bit of the ritual that needed to be done. It couldn't have been done on Midsummer's Day, but on the Day of the Dead, when the spirit realm and the material realm are at its thinnest, when magic can flow between the worlds, sort of thing. I don't know how it all works, but I digress. Both the Adelaide and the Valor on our way to make this happen. And there were people who did not want this to happen. And lo, there appeared hordes of demons, and a particularly nasty one who took my own father as hostage and kept him in a cage and gave us an ultimatum. If we surrendered, then they would give us back our hostages. But he'd underestimated the heart of the Callistum. Duty, family, and honor. So we unleashed our forces upon him. There was a great squadron of planes. I was with my own cousin, my old drinking buddy Zerkander, in our kites, fighting the demons, firing our bullets at them. Life was simpler back then. You knew who you were fighting, you knew you were fighting this creature there, and you didn't have to worry about all this politics business. Even the gods wanted us to do this.
The gods wanted you to fight them?
Yes, because the demons wanted to ensure the world would stay broken. But in that breaking of the world ensued corruption upon it.
What sort of corruption?
People turned into creatures, into distasteful abominations, sacrificing others for their own gain. That's what the demon cults would have you want. That's what Nerty wanted. Well, she's dead now. I couldn't believe it myself that somebody actually killed Nerty, but the crew of the Adelaide definitely did it. It was quite a shock.
So, after you fought this battle, did you manage to repair the world?
Yes, we did. And the first words were, "Let there be light." And so Elritha was recovered. The entire continent of Elritha, thought missing to the ages.
Was that a good thing?
Yes, the peace of past has been long gone, found again.
And what do you intend to do with it now that it's been found?
Oh, I can go and visit there now.
So it's like a holiday resort.
Well, yes,
Oh, that's nice.
it's a whole country now.
Yeah, was it worth fighting for?
Yes, that and Callista has made its name. Our kingdom was once a little bit player, but now we are an empire. The sun never sets on the empire.
Because you have the sunlight god.
That. And
Isn't that annoying if there's never nights?
there is night. It's just where one place the sun sets, the other rises.
But if the sun doesn't set in your empire, it's always daytime.
No. You quite misunderstand. The sun sets in one place, rises in the other.
So
It's that big of a world now.
it's more like the empire where the sun sets sometimes, but sometimes it's up.
But it never sets. You see, it
But-
rises in the other place and sets in the other.
But then there is no night.
There is night still. It's just
But if it
different
doesn't
bits. of
set,
the
then your empire is cast in light. What a curse.
no, it's more different bits of the world have a sunrise and sunset at different times.
So it does set.
Yes.
So it's the empire that occasionally the sun never sets on.
I see that semantics are somewhat,
I can see you cringing, Ashura.
but yes, this will all become clear in our space mission.
You have a space mission.
Yes, we got an invitation from the moon goddess herself, the Silver Lady, to visit her on the moon.
You know the sun never sets in space.
Correct?
So is that where you have your empire?
Space will be the next frontier. It will be the next place to go.
All right, but then you could claim that the sun never sets on your empire.
Well, I would say never since now, but we could agree to disagree. I mean, you're not Callisto, clearly.
But if the sun always sets somewhere, isn't it the empire where the sun always sets? It sort of sounds to me like the term itself is more something to make it seem greater than it actually is.
But it is great.
But it's not always in sunlight and it's not always in darkness.
It is the greatest thing that ever happened and ever will be.
For the space mission, do you know what you're being called for?
Well, I am being called for as Air Vice Marshal, and I shall be in charge of this operation. But I'm having a little bit of a sit-down job this time. I get to do the bureaucracy and be one of the brass that tells them, oh, when is this going to happen? You know, and you sort this bit of engineering out, and I can't wait for that. And it means I get to put my feet up and have a smoke and have a bit of a whiskey and some tea.
So you'd be like a statue.
I wouldn't be a statue.
Well, you said you would be like brass.
Brass, meaning higher ups, you know, them lot who get to make the big decisions. I didn't get these pips for nothing that you could see on my chest.
Yeah, but if I were you, I would get them in gold.
Gold is more for religious, and there isn't that much gold in the world. We have the silver standard, you see.
So it is cursed.
It's a bit gold is a bit gauche, to be honest.
No wonder your Tiamat is acting strange. If there isn't enough gold.
She's not strange. She just wishes she's a god. So gods move in mysterious ways, I suppose.
That is something I can agree on.
But fiery rocks, they exist because the great maker wanted rocks that could go on fire, and he thought that was fun.
Like great rocks of fire?
Rocks you can set fire to, and it could heat your home. It could even get a car going.
Ah, so like magma.
Sort of the sort, yes.
Before more semantics are made,
Yes.
I'd like to ask you a few more questions.
Fire away.
What would you say is your most defining moment?
Ooh, that's a good question. There are so many moments. I think rescuing Tulio, probably one of my most finest hours.
What did you rescue them from?
A burning castle. You see, they were under some sort of illusion, and they were being attacked by demons. And I'd already saved somebody in another castle, and that's how I've got this necrotic wound. But a castle was on fire, and none of my squad could help them. I mean, just look at me. I don't feel the pain of fire very often. One might say I'm resistant to such.
As many of us do not.
Yes. But I took a chance, and the smoke entered my lungs, and I found him. Yes. Young boy. And he wanted to become a squire. I mean, we haven't had squires since days of yore, sort of thing. So he became my Batman, and my person to fill my towels and do such. In return, I would give him apprenticeship and teach him how to fly in a plane. And he became a midshipman on board the HMS Valor. And I saw him grow up, and he's been my retainer ever since, and part of my household. And at some point, I'll knight him.
Sure, they are looking forward to that day, but we should send you back.
Yeah.
But I would love to discuss more with you at another point.
Yes. Well, it's been a very interesting place here.
Indeed, we do tend to keep it a bit more interesting than normal. But until we see you again, have a good awakening.